Good morning. Good morning. It is time for another session of KickBack Bible Study. Today we're going to be picking up Genesis chapter 31. We left off last time at chapter 30 after Jacob had all these babies. Rachel finally had him a baby, and he was like, you know what? I want my own place. So Jacob's deciding that he's going to get up and go. And while he's there, before he leaves, he creates a situation with, how you say it, Laban, which is Rachel and Leah, Jacob's two wives, their father, to separate the goats. And he, does out the spotted goats and the regular goats. And that's where we're at. So we're going to pick back up on chapter 31. Here we go. Genesis chapter 31. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taketh away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all his glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. So that means he feeling some type of way about Jacob. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not towards me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And yea, know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me, hath changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said this, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all thy cattle bear speckle. And if he said this, the ringstead shall be thy heir, then all the cattle ringstead. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at that time that the cattle conceived, and that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ranstag, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, and saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap on the cattle are ringstead, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowedest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return to the land of thy kindred. So basically what's going on here is he talking to Rachel and Leah, and he like, y'all daddy been doing me wrong this whole time. This whole thing started out left because I was supposed to be coming here to marry Rachel, and ended up serving 7 years and bamboozled into marrying Leah. So he just been dirty from the beginning. So all of this separation of this increase, he said that it's not him, it's God. He said if he would have picked the spotted ones and I got the regular ones, then that's what I would have rolled with, and it would have been what it was. And so by virtue of just going through life, he was like, I ain't taking nothing. Like, I've been doing right by this man, even every time he swindled me. God bless me, not him. So let's keep going. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? And we not counted of him strangers, for he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and carried away all his cattle and all his goods, which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which had gotten in Padaraim, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unaware to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the 3rd day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good nor or bad. And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban and his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done? And thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword. Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with song, and tabret, and with harp? So he like, well, why you snuck off? We could have had a good cook off. We could have sent you off right. And has not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Thou hast now done foolishly in doing so. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, Thou take heed that thou speakest not to Jacob, either good or bad. And now, though thou wouldest need be gone, because thou sore longest after my father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And now, when he says stolen my gods, we'll finish this chapter. And now, though thou wouldest need to be gone, because thou sorest longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy goods, let him not live. Before our brethren, discern thou what is with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew that Rachel had stolen them. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the two maidservants' tent, but he found them not. Then he went out of Leah's tent, and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images, and put them in the camel's furniture, and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my lord, then I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not images. And Jacob was wroth, and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hadst so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, and they may judge between us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and thy rams of that flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it of my hand. Didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night? Thus I was in the day. The drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle. And now thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac have been with me, surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. God hath seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, these children are my children, these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap. They did eat upon their heap. And Laban called it Jergashobutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, The Lord which between me and thee, when we are absent from one another, if thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughter, no man is with us. See, God is witness between me and thee. And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast between me and thee. This heap be a witness, and this pillar be a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this pillar unto me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Noah and the God of their father judge between us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifices upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. They did eat bread. and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed, returned to his place. Okay, that's the end of chapter 31. So what he was looking for when Laban said, "Have you taken my gods?" What he do your own independent research, but giving you insight when he says, like, what do you mean, like, he take my gods? Everybody in this time and in these conversations that you're gonna have are not believers in God as a one and only God. Like, you have people who have like figures and stuff that they would carve out, and that's what they said when they say she stole my gods and she was sitting upon them. They were some kind of graven or carved or some kind of images that she took and she sat on it. And when he was searching for it, he was like, they done came in and stole my stuff, and she was sitting on it. And when he was searching for it and she was sitting on the camel, she was like, I'm on my period, I can't get up. And he was like, okay, cool. So that's how she got away with that. And Jacob didn't know she had stolen these little things. Like, it would be similar to like a Buddhist like statue or something that you set up and you pray to or something like that. It was something of that nature. So they was like, look, Jacob was like, look, I ain't took nothing from you, and I was with you for 20 years, and you was real trife, so don't get mad now because I'm leaving, because I know the only reason that you even kept me around is because you knew I was blessed, and the fear of God keep you from doing something to me, but, let's make a truce. So they made a truce and was like, hey, you don't come on this side of the rock, I don't come on that side of the rock. They had them a little cookout and, talked it out, ate it over. So now we're on chapter 32. So Laban is going back, after he came and didn't find the stuff that Rachel had done stole. Okay. 32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau, thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now, and I have oxen and asses, flocks and manservants and women servants, and I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messenger returned to Jacob, saying, we come to thy brother Esau, and also cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels in two bands. So he was like, hey, bro, I'm back in town, and I got goats and camels and stuff. And Esau was like, okay, 400 of y'all, go handle this. So now Jacob is like, hey, y'all split up. We got to do something. So, and Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels and the two bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saidst unto me, return into thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all thy mercies, of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother and from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and he took that which came into his hand, a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine, 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 fowls. And he delivered them unto the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me, and put a space between drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, what art thou, and whither goest thou, and whose art these before thee? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servants Jacob, and it is a present sent unto my lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. And ye say, Moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and he took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had, and Jacob was left alone. And there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. So basically, he sent his children and his wives away, and somebody came to take him out, fight him, whatever. And in the midst of going through all of this stuff, they like battling, wrestling, and he didn't win. And the guy was like, well, what kind of godly protection do you got? Like, obviously, you got you got something going on. So this man, he blessed him. So I don't know, he was like some kind of like holy assassinator or whatever. And he blessed him when he couldn't kill him. When the day broke and he was like, you still alive? He was like, you obviously got some kind of holy power in you. So Jacob asked him, and so he named him Israel. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. As he passed over Peniel, the sun rose up again, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the swine of the sinew which shank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. Okay, chapter 33. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and to the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids at their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. Dang. So basically he was like, all the hoes and y'all kids get killed first. Leah, you my wife, but you ain't the one I like. You and your kids go next. Me and Rachel and Joseph is going to be back here. If they make it through y'all, then they can get us. So he passed over before them and bowed himself into the ground 7 times until he came. Well, I'm not saying that's what his intentions was, but that's how he lined them up. So, and he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Okay, so he got these 400 men, but he ain't even mad for real. He seen his brother and was just like, you know what? I still kind of love you. So he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children, and he said, Who are these with thee? And he said, The children which God hath graciously given thy servant. Then the handmaids came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all these droves which I meet? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou was pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, my Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and that the flocks and the herds with the young are with me. And if men should override them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure. Until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir. And Esau said, let me now leave with thee some of the flock that are with me. And he said, what needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him a house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of this place is called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalem, the city of Shalem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Paradam, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent, in the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he created there an altar, and he called it Elohi Israel. Okay, so him and his brother cool, and his brother was like, nah, I don't even want all your goats. Like, you can keep them. I'm good over here. And he was like, well, nah, if we cool, go on and take them, because, I want to give this to you as a present. And so his brother left. Esau left first, and he was like, I can't keep up with you because I got goats and kids. Oh, well, kid goats, that's funny. I got goats and children, and they ain't going to be able to go that fast. So he went about his way, and Jacob found some place to set up a house. He bought some land and started setting stuff up. Now, 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her, and lay with her, and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, give me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the man was grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel, in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter, and I pray you give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you, and ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, let me find grace in your eyes, that what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, because he hath defiled Dinah her sister. And they said unto him, we cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that we a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we, but every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and then will we take your daughters to us, and that we will dwell with you, and that we will become one people. But if you will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem's Hamor's son, and the young men deferred not to do a thing, because they had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, these men are peaceable with us, therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein, for the land behold, is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for us to wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people. If every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised, shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And Hamor and Shechem and his son hearkened, and all went out of the gate of the city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of the city. And it came to pass on the third day that when they were sore, and two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dana's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dana out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep, their oxen, their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and all their wives, they took captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and Perizzites, and I begin few in number. They shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with a harlot? Said chapter 34. Okay, so what done went down? So Dana, that's the first girl from Leah, the ugly one. She went out and she was like, I want to explore this new city. Let me see how they water the well and all of this. And somebody took it out of her and was like, I want that. So I don't know. I don't know if it was by, I can't say what it couldn't have been. I can't expressly discern whether it was a situation where he may have took her by force, or it seems like it was more so of like courted and kind of wooed her, and it was not in there. These people did not have the same traditions. They did not live the same kind of way. They didn't have the covenant with God, that it referenced the circumcision. So when they came, they were talking to Jacob and was like, listen, I know this is not, right. I didn't give y'all no dowry, no nothing. We didn't go the right kind of way about my son claiming your daughter. So let's rectify this. And so they was like, no, the only way we'll do this is if y'all get into this covenant with us, and we not integrating our people unless we all on the same page as far as our beliefs. So they was like, okay, cool. We down with believing what you believe. You look like you doing well, so I guess what you believe in ain't too bad. And Simeon and Levi, which are Jacob's, two of Jacob's sons, they go along with this, and get these people at ease. And then they turn around and kill every male in the city. They was like, no, these are some disrespectful folks, and we don't want to integrate them. And they out here treating our sister like a whole hoe, and you gonna let this slide, but we ain't letting nothing slide. So not just him and his daddy gotta die, but every man in that city gotta die. I guess to alleviate the possibility of any one of them disrespecting any of our women anymore. So, and Jacob was like, what did y'all do? Like, y'all just done killed everybody, and somebody gonna get a word of this, and now they're gonna send all of their people to kill us. So that's what happened in chapter 34. 35. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. When Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were around them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name was called Alabachut. And God appeared unto Jacob again, and when he came out of Perdarium, and blessed him, and God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And thy land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him, and the place where he had, and I have that highlighted, as a promise or prophetic word. And God went up from him, and the places where he talked with him, and Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him Bethel. And he journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come Ephraim, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. So she pregnant while all this going on. When they say travailed, and she had hard labor. She having a baby now. And it came to pass when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was departing, for she died, that she called his name Beonan, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way to Ephraim, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that this pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Adar. So she had a baby, and she died in child and giving birth to him. And this is Benjamin. She called him Benoi, but his daddy called him Benjamin. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Adar. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land. Now Israel is Jacob. This is the same person. It's just a different name now. And Reuben went and lay with Belial, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. So Reuben done slid in on his daddy Dane. And the sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born unto him in Padarim. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father, unto Merim, unto the city of Abar, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Okay, so he done went back home, and then Rachel done had this other baby. They done had to move from where they was set up at after Simeon and Levi killed all of them people. So they traveling back to where their daddy was, and now their father Isaac, that's Esau and Jacob's father, had just died. Then when they say gave up the ghost, that's what that be. Okay. And Jacob came to Isaac his father, unto Merim, unto the city. Oh wait, we read that. Okay, chapter 36. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Abad, the daughter of Elam, the Hittite, and Ahamlimah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebon, the Hivite, and Baalshemath is Ishmael's daughter, sister of Najah. And Adar bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashir bare Reuel, and Alam bare Jeshus, and Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob, for their riches were more than that they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, and there are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. And these are the names of Esau's son: Eliphaz, the son of Bah, the wife of Esau; Reuel, the son of Beshma, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gotma, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Reuel, Nathah, and Zerah, and Shemal, and Mizah. And these were the sons of Bashmath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Adalamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebulun, Esau's wife. And she bare to Esau Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. And these were dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau: Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenzah, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, Duke Amalek. And these are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son: Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shema, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. And these are the sons of Bashmath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Ahalio, Esau's wife: Duke Jeush, Duke Jalam, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Alamihah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is in Edom, and these are their dukes. And these are the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land: Latan, and Shabal, and Zebon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishon. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir, in the land of Edom. And the children of Latan were Harai and Hamah, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shabal were these: Alvin, and Matath, and Abal, Sepho, and Amnon. And these are the children of Zebulun, both Ajah and Anah. And this was that was found the mules in the wilderness, and he fed the asses of Zebulun his father. And the children of Anah were these: Dishon, and Abalamah, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishon: Hamdan, and Eshba, and Athran, and Charan. The children of Ezer are these: Bilhan, Zavan, and Aknan. The children of Dishan are these: Uz and Aran. Uz and Aran. Where was that? Oh, okay. And these are the children of Dishan: Hamdan, and Eshban, and Aranth, and Charan. The children of Ezer are these: Bilhan, and Zavan, and Aknim. And the children of Dishan are these: Uz and Aran. And these are the dukes that came of the Horatites: Duke Lotan, Duke Shabal, Duke Zemnan, Duke Anah, Duke Dishan, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. And these are the dukes that came of Harah among their dukes of the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. And Belel, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of this city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jacob the son of and Jobab the son of Zerah and Borzrah reigned in his stead. And Jobab died, and Heshem of the land of Tamini reigned in his stead. And Heshem died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of this city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Shemlah of Mezrich reigned in his stead, and Shemal died, and Saul of Reboth by the river reigned in his stead, and Saul died, and Balaam the son of Archer reigned in his stead, and Balaam the son of Archer died, and Hadgar reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Pau, and his wife's name was Methabel, the daughter of Matrid, the daughter of Mezhab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau according to their families, after their places by their names: Duke Tamal, Duke Evlah, Duke Jetif, Duke Hablabah, Duke Elah, Duke Penan, Duke Hazan, Duke Taman, Duke Mizbar, Duke Miguel, Duke Aram. These be the dukes of Edom according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Okay, chapter 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bela, and with the sons of Zelphah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Okay, so Joseph went and snitched. So they was out doing something they ain't had no business doing, and Joseph went and told on them to their daddy. That's what it says when he says he brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto him, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood round about and made obstinance to my sheaf. And his brethren said unto him, now if you don't know what that means, and made obstinance to my sheaf, that means to bow to. Like, look stuff like that up. So he said, I stood up, and all your sheaves were submissive to me, to bow to and submit themselves to them. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dream and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obstinance to me. So it's the sun and the moon, and now the sun and the moon bowing to him. And he told it to his father, and his brethren and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said unto him, Here I am. And he said unto him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flock, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. So the other brothers went to go feed the flock, and Israel, and we're going to get used to calling him Israel. Israel and Jacob is the same people. He was like, Go run after your brothers and see what they got going on. So he going to go see what they got going on. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brother and found them in Dothan. So they didn't even go where their daddy told them to go. They just went somewhere else. And Joseph is going after them. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Now therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit, and we will say, some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. So they was like, oh, here he come with all the dreams. Let's see if he died, if we gonna bow down to him then. So, and Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben is the oldest one. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him unto his father again. That he might rid him out of their hands and deliver him up to his... So Reuben is like, okay, they all want to kill him, and it's too many of them for me to fight straight up. So I got to think about this a different kind of way. So he was like, let's put him in a pit and just leave him there instead of killing him, so we don't have an explanation to do. And Reuben did this. It said to deliver him out their hands and return them and deliver him to his father again. So he did this with the intention of saying, let's leave him in this pit, and then Reuben was going to come back and get him and take him to his daddy. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him, and they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery, balm, and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is us if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. So here come Judah. He was like, listen, we can't kill him, but leaving him in the pit don't do us no good, because he's gonna die anyway. So why don't we just sell him and make some money off of it, and then we haven't killed our brother, nor do we just leave him in a pit where it's no benefit. So Judah was like, let's sell him. So and his brothers were content, so they agreed. Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. So Reuben came back and was like, dang, I was too late. Because I guess, I don't know if he was going to go tell his daddy or what, but in the midst of him not being there, his brothers had sold him. And he returned unto his brother and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed the kid of goats, and dipped the coat in the blood, and they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it unto their father, and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, this is my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all the sons and all the daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him unto Egypt, into Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard. So Jacob was like, that was my favorite baby. I ain't never gonna be okay. I'ma cry until the day I die. So they put some goat blood on there, and they got him thinking that he dead. So chapter 38. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren, and turned into a certain Abudalite, whose name was Hirah. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shahu. And he took her and went in unto her, and she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Shebez when she bare him. So Judah following in his daddy's footsteps. Okay. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, go into thy brother's wife, and marry her, and rise up seed in thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his, and it came to pass when he went into his brother's wife that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. Okay, and the thing which he did displeased. Well, let's digest that. So, back in that time, and this gets into just learning more about tradition and how things worked in different cultures. And in the culture, it would have been if your brother died without kids and had a wife, that wife that he was to take, the brother would bear children unto that wife, but they would call it the dead one's kid, like to keep that lineage or that family line like going. So Onan, because it says that God slew for he was evil, so God didn't like so he had a stroke or whatever. However he died. And they said God slew him, so it wasn't a situation where he was like murdered by somebody or whatever. Like he had like a brain aneurysm or something. And Onan, it says that he spilled his seed on the ground, lest he should give seed to his brother. So he didn't want his brother's line to continue. So when he hit that, he pulled out, and that defeated the whole purpose of the whole thing. So that's when he said he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. So he pulled out and spilled it on the ground. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. So he dead too, because the Lord was like, you around here taking this poom and ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing with it. You getting the pleasure knowing that you have no intention of actually fathering a child for your brother's seed. So he slew. So it says the Lord was displeased, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelled in her father's house. So Judah had two sons. Both of them then died. One because he was evil. The other one because he was around there hitting that with no intentions of fathering children. And so they got these widows. And Tamar, which was one of the widows, Judah was like, listen, I got another son. He ain't old enough yet, but when he get old enough, he could be your husband, because we just can't have you out here all the way widowed. So now she's in her father's house. Now, and in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up to his sheep shears to Tamoth, he and his friend Hera and Abulite. And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Tamoth to shear his sheep. And she put on her widow's garment, and she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which is by the way to Timnath, for she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. So she was like, okay, he whole grown and you still got me sitting around here waiting. Like, what's going on? So he went to go shear some sheep, went out of town. Him and his boys, they need to have a trip. They need to go shear their sheep somewhere else, because he just got a lot going on. Judah need to get out of town and get a little bit of a break. So Tamar changed her clothes and followed them. Now when Judah saw her, now she done changed her clothes now. So she hiding, she on some sneak stuff. Now when Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned into her by the way, and said, go, I pray thee, let me come in unto you. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what wilt thou givest me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, wilt thou give me a plague till thou send it? And he said, what can thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And he said, thy sinus, and thy bracelet, and thy staff that is in thy hand. And he gave it to her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. Okay, so he done seen her out in these streets with a whole different outfit, wearing a ho's uniform, and he thought that she was tricking. So he was like, let me get that. And she was like, what you gonna give it for me? He was like, girl, I give you a goat. And she was like, well, the goat ain't here, so what we gonna do? So until you send me that goat, what like, I ain't finna be bamboozled out of my pom pom, because once I give it, I can't give it back. So what I need some upfront payment. And he was like, well, look, I'll give you this bracelet and this staff and all this stuff I got in my hand, and you can run me my stuff back when I send you your goat. So they was like, okay, cool, boom, boom. They done did the thing. She got pregnant. Now, and she arose and went away and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. So now she done went and changed her clothes back. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend. He made good. He was like, I told you I was going to give you a goat, girl. Here it come. Bad. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend Adulite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there is no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of that place said, there is no harlot in that place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not find her. And it came to pass about 3 months after, that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, hath played the harlot. And also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, let her be burnt. So he was like, go find this girl, because ain't nobody finna be acting like I'm around here swindling, pum, like I can afford that. I got goats on deck. But they couldn't find her. So next thing you know, 3 months done passed, and somebody was like, hey, Tamar pregnant, and she ain't married Shechem. So like, what? She out here in these streets tricking. So he was like, bring that hoe. You gonna burn her. Now when she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, I am with child. And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these, the signet, the bracelets, and staff? And Judah acknowledged them and said, she hath been more righteous than I, because I gave her not to Shelah, my son. Shelah, not Shechem. Shelah, my son, and he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail, that behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed, that one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound up his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And then it came to pass that she drew back his hand, and behold, his brother came out. And she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name is called Perez. And afterwards came out his brother, and had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. So hit that and made twins. And Judah wasn't mad at all, because he was like, you know what, this was real foul what you did, but I see why. I told you I was gonna give you my son, and I didn't. So I kind of brought that on myself. All right, so chapter 39. Now we're bringing it back. We're gonna go to 40. We might go through 40. I don't know. We'll see. A good stopping point. 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt at Petphar. An officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him out of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, that the Lord made all that he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him and made him an overseer of his house and all that he had put into his hands. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught be had, aught be had save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a godly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in thy house, and he hath committed all that he hath into my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? So Joseph then got to Egypt, got him a good job. His boss is liking what's going on. He blessed everything he do. He prospering. And his boss wife was like, he cute. And so she was like, let me get that. And he was like, no. He was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I'm in control of like so much. This man has not withheld nothing from me except you. So what I look like disrespecting him like that, and not just him, but sin against God. So, and it came to pass as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie unto her or to be with her. So she just going at it and trying to get that. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house there within. And she caught him, and she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled to go and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us, and came into me to lie with me. And I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass that when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought in unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she had spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whosoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to do anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it prosper. So she couldn't get that, and she got an attitude. And Joseph left a piece of clothes one day running away, and she was like, he tried to take me. And the king believed her, and now, well, the Pharaoh believed her and threw Joseph in prison. So chapter 40. And it came to pass after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And the Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in ward in house of the captain of the guard. Now, Joseph in prison, but God favored him. Ooh, excuse me. And so he ain't too bad, because the guy like him. The prison guard is cool with him. And so, and he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season in ward. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. But the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came unto them in the morning, and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his lord's house, saying, Wherefore ye look so sadly today? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said unto him, In my dreams, behold, a vine was before me, and the vine there were branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And the Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup unto Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head and restore thee unto thy place, and thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand after the former matter, when thou was a butler. But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. So he had a dream, and he was like, What does dream mean? And Joseph was like, That dream mean Pharaoh gonna give you your job back. He gonna let you out of prison. But now I done told you what this dream means, so don't forget about me when you get your job back. Don't forget I'm stuck down here. So he was like, Talk to the Pharaoh for me. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also I have done nothing that they should put me into the dungeons. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head, and the uppermost basket therein was of all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days, and within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and thy birds shall eat thy flesh from thee. And it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of his chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup unto Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. So the butler done got out, the dream done came true, the baker done got killed, and the butler is serving again, and he still forgot about Jacob. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. We've read through chapter 40, so we're going to pick up next time on chapter 41. But this has been a super exciting session. We got through the story of the coat of many colors that some people may be familiar with, but that was the full story of that. So now we got Joseph in prison in Egypt interpreting dreams and still ain't got let out. So we'll see what happens from here. But thank you guys so much for spending some more time with me. Another session of Kickback Bible Study. And we will pick up next time on chapter 41 of Genesis. And that'll be we'll get through the rest of Genesis. So we're almost through the book of Genesis. So next session we'll be ending out Genesis. Thank y'all so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.